All right, we're going to start some video. And when I say now, that's when we're going to start doing the audio. Three, two, one. Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud. And this is All Stars 2, episodes 1 through 4. Running super late doing these episodes, these recaps, but I have missed doing them. I'm actually, I don't know, fighting off some sort of disease that's going around. Perhaps you've heard of it, the common cold. no, I don't know what's going on. I've had this really weird cough, itch sort of thing in my throat that has prevented me from really podcasting, just because, I mean, you might be able to tell with this recording too, but it has gotten better thanks to some great recommendations, like old school medicinal treatments from my mom. She's like, if you boil tea and you put a little bit of honey, you know what I mean? And it did work. It has helped. So yeah, I just started recording recently for the other season, the other challenge, where I was super late with that, like 14 episodes late. Anyways, 4 episodes late this time, and I just have this little bitty notebook with just these little tiny notes, and we're just gonna try and breeze right through this. Yeah, let's just do that. Enough with the setup. All Stars 2. All I have written down is boarding pass. That was the mission of the day, and Derek and Jody win this. What is that? A road rules win? Wasn't Jody road rules as well? We haven't had that in a long time. And last is Nehemiah and Ayana, because I think Ayana fell. In fact, I believe Nehemiah and Ayana were the first ones to go, but the rules for this season is just like Rivals 1. If you get last place, then you're automatically in 2 eliminations. So they go first. Nehemiah actually tries to, because the concept, what is it called, boarding pass? It's like 2 ships attached by a what is it called? It's not actually what TJ calls it. Balance beam? Yeah. But a balance beam is, you balance on it. The thing was on a swivel. It tipped over, right? So Nehemiah, he's the first one to go, and he does try and actually use it as TJ would want. And what happens? He slips and he hits his fucking nuts, right? And then everyone's like, oh shit. And then Ayana falls. Nehemiah, it doesn't matter. They're automatically in elimination. So this is going to make everyone else do it safely. They just don't want to get last. Nehemiah and Ayana set the bar so low, so they're fine. Okay, so Derek and Jody, a lot of people do complete it, but they just happen to be faster. I think they just beat Steve, right? Steve and, was it Steve and Katie? Oh, God, I don't remember. So long ago, this episode. But anyways, after Derek and Jody win, that's when TJ is like, oh my gosh, you guys sucked, and nobody used it as it was supposed to be used. But it's like, dude, this was impossible enough. No one would have tried to use that wobbly board as an actual balance beam. It just wasn't. I mean, I'm not going to say it wasn't possible. I'm sure some producers were able to accomplish it, but they have people run these things, test it and stuff like that. I'm sure it was accomplished, but everyone crawled on it. And to me, I was like, fine, because they just didn't want to get last, right? So TJ's mad about this, and he's like, you know what? It's going to be 2 eliminations, double eliminations, or whatever. First of all, I want to say probably BS, because that was probably the structure anyways, you know? But TJ tries to use it as like, oh, because you guys didn't want to all fucking fall in your crotches on this thing, now it's double eliminations, which is just not true. It was going to happen anyways, but whatever. So, the only thing about this, though, the greatest part, was Darrell in confessional. He's like, what are you doing? Like, he's like, fuck you, TJ. No, really. Fuck you, he says, in all sincerity. And that was great, because I've wanted to say that. You know, he wasn't joking, is my point. And Darrell doesn't really joke around. He's very fucking serious. And he's had enough of TJ's bullshittery. So it was cool. I didn't even write that down, but I did remember it. Yeah. Sometimes you don't have to write certain things down, because you write them down the human heart. Let's see here. What else do I have? Nehemiah wants Ryan or Derek. Oh yeah, that's right. So the Derek and Nehemiah thing, they kind of hate each other. This starts off sort of positive. Derek's like, hey man, who do you want? Because Ayanna doesn't care. She's like, whatever, you know. So Derek and Jody take Nehemiah along. And Nehemiah's like, I just want to go against Ryan because I beat him before in Gauntlet 3. And then they're like, well, did they say why? But eventually they were like, give us another name, right? And this is the thing that's going to get him in trouble. Nehemiah is going to get in trouble just because Derek was like, give me a second option, you know? He didn't have to. Nehemiah didn't have to, you know? He was tricked. You know, because like Derek could easily put in a second guy or whatever, but I don't know. Either way, he does say Derek. And then nominees come, and it's between Derek and Casey, Steve and Leah, something like that. And so eventually it is confirmed it will be Derek and Leah versus Nehemiah and Ayanna. So Steve's off the hook. Oh, and we have to mention this. The only reason why Steve was nominated was because Steve was making fun of Derek's shirt, his little outfit or whatever, you know? And I thought it was just harmless, but Derek was just like, what? You know? And he was even saying it. It's like, you know, you could have said nothing. Now it's easier to put you in elimination. Like, it was extremely petty. And I'm glad that afterwards, Steve was like, if I got voted in because of that comment about his stupid clothes, like, that is childish. That is so petty, you know? Which Derek is, you know? Is Derek great in the show? Yes. Great as in, like, his abilities, his physical abilities. But he has always, I don't know, he's always been a little off for me, you know? It doesn't help that he was part of the JEK Alliance way back in the day. Sure, his initials were never put up there. He never made partner. But he did, though. He was like the silent partner, right? Yeah. The D was silent in the JEK dynasty. Oh, shit. Never mind. There was another D in there. But anyways, okay, so they're having a party and people are doing whatever. And then, you know, John A is like, oh my God, I have intuition. I know when Derek's bummed out and shit like that. And yeah, he is. Apparently something horrible happened. His family member, like, his sister, like, took her life, like, the day before he left. And yeah, it was a huge, like, downer, like a huge bummer. Like, it's so extremely sad. Like, yeah, I was like, oh, fuck, this is horrible, you know? Oh my gosh. And I think we're already, because we're already into episode 2. I think Derek's family tragedy is announced on the second episode. So this is episode 2 right now. See, like that first episode ended on like a non-cliffhanger. You know, it was almost like mid-scene. You know, it was so lame. I never like it when the challenge does cliffhangers because you do them so poorly and a lot. You know, so these champs versus stars, these all stars as well. Spin-off shows are so much better because they aren't doing, you know, they're back to the golden age of how the show was put together, and nowadays it's just crap. Okay, so episode 2, what else? Oh, okay, we'll get on to the elimination. It's called Dead Weight, where Nehemiah will defeat Derek, Ayanna will defeat Leah. It's Leah, I think. Yeah. So this was, what is it? It's like 3 coffins. One, they're all really heavy. Some of them you have to do puzzles in order to pull the coffin and hook it up or whatever. And, yeah, this was so weird. I mean, I already said Nehemiah does beat Derek, and it was very emotional just because, you know, you have his very close friends, Jasmine and John A, just like crying and like, oh God, do it for your sister and shit like that. Or he's like, I'm doing it for my sister and all this crap. Like it's very weighty. It's very like, very emotional thing, especially with when Ayanna defeats Leah. Like Leah does very poorly, but then Ayanna finishes, like beasts her 3 coffins, and then she even helps Leah pull her coffin in the end. And it was the most bizarre thing. I was like, what? Like, what is this salty discharge coming out of my eyes? Yeah, I don't know why. I was all swept up in it and shit like that. But that was that episode. Let's get on to episode 3. So right away, that same Ayanna who was like, girl, you know, hold your head up high. Like, I'm going to help you pull this weight and shit like that, you know? So right away in the next episode, she's going to clash with one of her roommates, Sophia, because Ayanna's doing her hair, and then Sophia's like, no, I don't know if I want my hair done this certain way. And Ayanna's like, oh, don't, just trust me. And she just does it anyways, right? And then Sophia's like, oh, no, the last time someone did that to my hair, it was oh shit, I don't remember the story necessarily, but she was deeply affected by it. And so Ayanna's like, you know, and she just like tries to reason with her or whatever, but Sophia is very bothered by this flashback. But yeah, that'll come into that'll come into the show later. All I have written down is Around the Block. That's the mission for this day, and it's like in the heat, and the puzzles are very heavy, and they're at this slant. It's very hard to. This is very difficult. It's a very very difficult thing to do. I really enjoyed this compared to the first mission, where everyone. I mean, it looked cool, but everyone played it safe, right? So, it was kind of lame. It was lame either way. Even if TJ was right or wrong, it was lame. Lamer compared to All-Star Season 1, where they upped, by they I mean production, upped the harshness and the brutality of these missions for these people who are well into their 40s and 50s, right? So it was just like, you know, I couldn't look away. I was like, oh my gosh, how are you doing this to these fragile people, you know? So with episode 1, it was just really lame. But that's just how it turned out. So with this one, I was like, good. I mean, it's kind of, this just seems to take a long time. It seems very frustrating, and the puzzles are heavy and shit. But yeah, this is more like what that first season was, that first spin-off. So I do appreciate this way more. At least people weren't like heat stroked and shit like that. Like that was more like season one. People just like breaking down and needing medical attention like all time. So Darrell and Tina are the captains of the winning team. Ryan and Ayanna are the captains because I think Ayanna was randomly chosen. Yeah. I think Ryan stepped up because they were like, we're going to draw numbers and see who's the guy captain. And Ryan's like, fuck it. I'll just do it. It's fine. Okay, so, but when Ryan and Ayanna do lose, and since Ayanna won her life saver, her life shield, through elimination, she has to put in someone else right away. And she's just like, Sophia, because of the hair debacle, So people are like, Ayanna, you went from like, hold your head up, girl. Like, we're all, let's empower and push each other up. And you know what I mean? To right away, she's like, fuck you. But right away, I mean, this was the other thing that reminds me of that first season of The Challenge, where it's like people I haven't thought of forever. Some people who've only done like one season, or, they come back and all of a sudden they're fucking this fully fleshed out character. Whereas in like when they were in their 20s, they were just like, I don't know, I like music, that's all, Nominees. Darrell has to put in his roommates. Oh, right. Yeah, because Darrell he's like with Kahada and MJ. Shit. But he's like, hey guys, I'm not gonna put you guys in. I think Tech's even there. That might be true. I don't remember. And I think John-Nay, he even tells John-Nay, like, we're all in this together. Like, I'm not going to put you guys in. We're all for one for all, shit like that. So as soon as he goes into nominations, Tina's like, no, we're going to put these people in and these people in. And like, just the way everything breaks down, Darrell ends up absolutely nominating his roommates. It's fucking crazy and it's hilarious. Jody and John-Nay are nominated. That's all I have written down. Tina, if I haven't mentioned her yet, like she was full of personality before, but she was more just like, I'm a goddamn bitch, you know what I mean? But now she's like, I'm a mother first and a bitch second. No, she didn't say that, but she's just, again, all these people are more mature now, and they're a lot more interesting, I have to say. Fireball elimination. We have Kahada defeats Ryan, and Jody defeats Sophia in Fireball. This is an awesome elimination. The very first time, I want to say, where fire was implemented properly and worked and looked good. What was that? Fire Escape, I think? It was on Double Agents, where Tija's like, you guys are going to do this thing attached and crawl across on a beam while it's on fire. And it wasn't on fire. It was like 4 feet above the contraption was a bar that was parallel to what they were on that was on fire. It was so weak. It was, it was so lame. So, but this time, they're fucking holding on to balls of fire. Not only that, one gets green flames and one gets yellow flames. It's fucking cool as shit. Or was it blue flames? Either way, it was like really sweet. It was awesome to watch. Visually stimulating. Kahada defeats Ryan. I want to say that both people that lost was through like just major errors, on their part, where they just straight up and it happens. I don't know if you've ever played tic-tac-toe, I think most of us have, but just to be running and to have those things in your hands, like, it was so cool. And yeah, it always happens though. don't see this obvious pattern that everyone else sees or your opponent sees, and you're thinking about yourself perhaps instead of trying to defend, you know. So yeah, Kahara, Jody win. Episode 4. Oh my gosh, we're breezing right through this. Bright Skies. Casey and Steve win. Katie quits. Yeah, this was bad. She like hates the heights, but there's nothing but height challenges. I think I've talked about this in the previous All-Stars where I'm like, that's all they have, you know. The challenges is creatively bankrupt in some senses, you know. They love the height stuff, Katie. Like, you're screwed. And I think when she did compete, there wasn't as many heights things, you know. It was more varied back when she competed and won. Okay, Brad. Oh yeah, he was the first one, so he's automatically going into eliminations. And Bright Skies, this is trivia. It just seems so early for trivia. I'm so sick and tired of it, of those things, because it's just TJ's excuse to like laugh and stick out his tongue. You know, he's like, I just you know, I smoked 2 bowls before making, you know, before doing this mission, so I'm gonna laugh my ass off and shit like that. But it's like, dude, it's like, you know, other people watch these challengers fall in the water too, but they're not watching it with as much glee, you know, like fucking psychopath, goddamn lunatic. But yeah, Casey and Steve won. Very good. Like, you know, Casey was like, oh my god, this is my first ever individual win. And that's cool. And I like that Steve won. I'm so glad he's back. It's so great. Like, he was one of those one and done guys, but even then, I thought he was awesome. Nominations, Steve and Casey. Oh, okay, so there's a little bit of little crumb of genius, I don't know, where they want to get certain things done and accomplished, and they're just like, okay, Jody and Kahara, they have their lifesavers. Why don't we just force them to use it? That way they can't help Derek, for instance. You know what I mean? It was brilliant. It was like, holy shit. I wonder if Jody and Kahara are gonna like go and tell their people. They're like, this is what we have to do next time, because they did it to us. It was a great tactic, so we got to copy them next time, you know? I wonder if this is like a eye-opening revelation, you know, a real game changer in terms of using the lifesavers. Okay, so after that, it's Derek and Ayanna. I think they put in Ayanna because she was the first to fall. And then Tyler and Kendall. I think they put in Tyler because that's like I think Steve's like, the girls are gonna vote to save him. And then Kendall. Oh yeah, Katie told Steve, she's like, hey, I don't care who I go against. I just don't want to go against Kendall. Steve doesn't want to even put Kendall up for nomination, but Casey is like, hey, we just made a huge move putting in Derek. Why don't you let me put in a huge move when it comes to the other girls, you know, like us, like how about me and shit like that, which is a very good point. Okay, so it's just them nominated, right? I think it's nominations with the rest of the group. That's when Ayanna like takes off her clothes and reveals she's wearing like the challenge jersey and gear and shit like that underneath. It was pretty funny. Like, yeah, again, like Ayanna's just like larger than life. And okay, but the other thing is, so it goes this plan. Derek's nominated, and so is Ayanna. But then back at the house, Katie's like yelling at Steve, and Steve's like, listen, you're not going against Kendall. You know, like that was the one thing. And then she's like, but what else did I say? I said, use your brain or whatever. I don't know. I kind of sided with Steve on this. I'm like, Katie, you're not going against Kendall. You know, you should have said, don't put me against Kendall or Ayana. You know what I mean? Something like that. You said one person, and you're not going to go against that person. You know? And you yourself quit. You were like, I'm way more comfortable being in elimination than being on the top of the building like that. You know? So, I don't know. I wish Katie's last moments on TV were a little bit better than this. Wait... ... There's more. That's the elimination where you got to run up some ramps with some weights and eventually put in was it 1,000 pounds, I think, and then a puzzle will come up. They're like sliding things. You got to match the colors up and stuff. So Ayana defeats Katie, and then Brad defeats Derek. This was a rematch, man, between those two in Gauntlet 2. And to me, Derek and Brad are like the same fucking guy. It's not racist. I just mean that like they are just two of the greatest that have ever done it, right? Derek has 3 wins. Brad only has the 1. But Brad, holy shit, he's gotten to a lot of finals and he's come that close to winning. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Like where it's like, he was robbed almost, you know. Think of that. Gauntlet 3, he should have won, although Derek then would have won 4. You know, how close was he to winning the Duel 2? You know what I'm saying? He was pretty darn close to winning the Duel 1. I'm just saying is that these two guys pitted against each other is good work, because these guys can win the whole fucking thing. So. I do like Nehemiah putting on that fake beard. That was great. Yeah, I think overall I think it was going to be more interesting if Derek won, but I'm a bigger Brad fan than a Derek fan, so I'm glad that Brad came back. But then after that, he's like, I'm not going to forget this and shit like that. So yeah. I don't know if Brad will... Is Brad vengeful like that? I don't remember. He might be. I don't know. But either way, hey, those were all 4 episodes of All Stars 2. And they're great. Hopefully I can cover the next episode even sooner than I did these other 4. So, like, subscribe, comment. This was a Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.